Hey everyone, it's Chloe. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel. The last couple of weeks I went off-roading in the desert, specifically Joshua Tree and Ocotillo Wells, and from those two trips my truck got pretty dusty. It was really fun, but my truck hasn't had a bath since we went on those two trips, so it's pretty much in need of one. I've been wanting to make a comprehensive video on how I wash and detail my truck for a while now, but here's the thing, this is going to be kind of a less of a how-to video and more of just a how I do it, because sometimes my truck's dirty from the rain, the mud, the dirt, so every time I wash and detail my truck I don't have this strict regimented routine that I follow because it's just based on how dirty it is and how it got dirty in the first place. Also, this is obviously not a show car by any means. It's my daily driver that I go off-roading with on the weekends, and I'm not an expert in detailing by any means at all, so feel free to follow or not follow these tips at all. But yeah, this video is just kind of to give you guys an idea of what I do, but if you have suggestions or questions, leave them in the comments down below. Okay, so I think before we wash the truck, I'm going to do a walk around so I can show you guys, I guess, how dirty it is, just in case you wanted to see a before. So first off, my truck is silver sky metallic, which is kind of nice because you usually can't really tell how dirty or dusty it is because the color just kind of reflects back. But if you swipe your finger over the paint, you can see how much dust has accumulated on the surface of the paint. And my fender flares aren't very black anymore, they're pretty dusty. Quite a difference there. I always seem to have trouble keeping my KO2s clean anyways, but they're looking a little worse than usual. It's always been really hard for me to achieve that deep black wet tire look, but this is the before on them. And then my wheels, literally from a week ago, still have Ocotillo Wells sand lodged into them. Since this stuff is so powdery and fine, like it's literally powder, this is actually stuck on for an entire week despite me driving to work on the freeway every single day. And obviously the wheels have a layer of dust on them too. As you can see, this is more of the black color that they truly are, not that. The tonneau cover is actually pretty bad because not only did it get super dusty from the two trips, it also kind of got wet from mist in the morning, so dirt just kind of lodged on because it was a soft top and then never came completely off when it all dried out. So I actually think I'm going to be removing that first and cleaning that separately. I don't know if the camera is showing how bad the tailgate is, but it's also super dusty, probably one of the worst parts. There's just sand lodged on this step piece, and like I said, water dripping from condensation in the morning just down the tailgate. What's really fun is if we open up the tailgate, you can see that my OEM bed mat is also ridiculously dirty. Dust still got underneath here. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably have to take everything out of the back here and take the tonneau cover off and wash out the bed completely. The wheel wells aren't too bad, they just kind of caught some mud as expected. And I'm not even sure if you guys can see, but inside the mud flaps, there's a lot of this dirt. That is literally a combination of mud and crusty salt from the Salton Sea because we got pretty close to it. It was all over the tires at the time, but obviously it came off from driving back on road, but stayed on the mud flaps. The inside of this thing is pretty sandy. It's actually more sandy on the driver's side, but in this video I'm not going to worry about cleaning up the inside because it's so minimal compared to the outside. But I'll probably take off the floor mats and pressure wash them and then hit them with a little bit of cleaner. So the first thing I'm going to do is just take everything out of my truck bed, and as you'll see in a second, I've been hauling some useful and some not so useful things. First off is this box with some pretty random things. I don't think I really needed to be hauling this. Oh, and then my right line tent, which is super dusty. And a mini fridge I've forgotten to take it out since someone gave it to me a few weeks ago. Oops. And a digital tire inflator. That's actually probably the most useful thing I have back here. The OEM bed mat is actually a lot heavier than it looks, which is why it kind of looks like I'm struggling to take it out. And once everything was taken out, I went on to remove my tonneau cover. I just figured it was so dirty, and in order to get into every crevice, I think the best thing to do was just to take it off. So the first thing I'm going to do is take out my pressure washer to do a touchless wash on my truck. And basically the point of this step is to get that layer of dust off my truck without touching it, because that would actually cause a greater risk of scratching the paint. Now the one thing with the pressure washer you want to be careful with is actually not getting it too close to the paint itself, because the pressure from the water itself can actually scratch your clear coat or paint too. So I'm doing my best not to spray super close to the paint, even though not all the debris is coming off. I'm also using a pretty wide nozzle. I believe it's 40 degrees, so it's not as harsh. On areas like underneath the truck, wheels and wheel wells, and basically anywhere where there's not paint, I actually go kind of closer with the pressure washer because you don't have to be concerned with that paint issue. A few months ago, I also posted another video where I washed and detailed my truck. Although my process was different for that video because, like I said in the beginning of this video, I wasn't dealing with dirt, I was dealing with salt and snow. I didn't spend as much time washing my truck in that video, but that's just because it was also like literally 20 degrees when I filmed it, and now that I live in San Diego, it is a lot warmer. So like I said, it's all just gonna depend on the current state of your truck. So the next thing I'm doing is foaming up my truck by putting this attachment onto my pressure washer and filling it with soap. And the soap I'm using is this Armor All Snow Foam Wash. I love this stuff because it smells so good and it really does a good job of foaming up the truck really well. This step is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just basically going around the entire truck. The last thing I do with the pressure washer is just wash off all the soap. So the next thing I do is mitt wash my truck using the 2-bucket method and some Armor All car wash. And the tools I basically use in this step are a wash mitt and 2 towels. So basically in the 2-bucket method, you have 1 bucket that's the clean bucket and 1 bucket that's the dirty bucket. The wash mitt first goes into the clean bucket with the car soap in it, and I go around mitt washing my truck, not with too much pressure, but just enough to get any leftover bugs or residue off. I didn't show it in the video, but basically the other bucket is just water, and in between using the mitt, you dip it into that bucket to actually get all the dirt and debris off so that you don't scratch the paint. And then I quickly just hose down any soap left over. And remember how I said I had 2 towels before? Well, the first one, which is orange in this case, I used to just get a lot of the water off of a panel, and then the second one, which is the gray one in this case, I used to go over the same panel again to really finish off drying the truck. So basically the orange towel is just to get all the water off, and the gray towel is to really dry the truck, if that makes sense. Also, I didn't wash my wheels and tires in this video because I was more concerned with the body of my truck, but actually there's another awesome Tacoma YouTuber on here that just released a video on wheel and tire care for his truck, and it has lots of good information, so I'm going to defer to him on that one. But anyways, his name is Spencer Hogg. He's awesome. He's a Tacoma YouTuber out of Canada, and he has a really nice 3rd-gen cement Tacoma, and also the quality of his videos are so good, so please go check him out. Go subscribe to him. I'll link his channel down below. The last thing I'm going to do, because I haven't done it in a long time, is wax my truck, and I really like this Meguiar's Mirror Glaze wax. Now, waxing is only something I do every couple of months on my truck. I'll normally just use a spray wax or Lucas Oil's Slick Mist in between actual waxes on my truck. So if you're looking for something easier and faster, I recommend spray waxing. But in this case, all I'm doing is putting some wax on an applicator pad. And I was told by a professional detailer one time to only go in straight lines, even though I know a lot of people say to go in small circles. I've had fine results with just going in straight lines. So I'm not completely sure. Like I said, I'm not a professional, but basically I just get the wax onto the truck, and then when it dries in a couple minutes, I take one towel to just take off the wax and then use another towel to just finish it off. Also, as you can see, I dropped an applicator pad. Happens all the time when I'm drying the truck too with towels. You always want to use a new towel or applicator pad because the second you drop it on the floor, it has debris on it. And after all that work, you don't want to scratch up your paint. Alright, and here is what the finished product looks like. It is much later in the day. I can't remember what time I started, but right now it is 6:41. Definitely took me a couple hours to finish this, and like I said, didn't even get the wheels and tires. But I did finish what I wanted to finish, and I definitely didn't want to rush through those parts, or else then I just start half-assing the job. And if I've learned one thing from Parks and Rec, Ron Swanson said, don't half-ass two things, whole ass one thing. If you've watched that show, let me know down below. But anyways, I'm very happy with how the exterior turned out, and I hope you enjoyed watching this or it helped you out. If you want to connect more with me, you can follow me on my Instagram. I post more live updates and stuff I'm doing with my truck on there. I am at Chloe Kuo Taco. Otherwise, I have a really exciting video coming up next week, so I hope you guys will stay tuned for that. Bye guys.